When this thing first came out, the stock exhaust was literally this big. Cue the intro. What's up guys, I'm Sean from Srkcycles. We have a 2002 Yamaha Warrior. And this thing's rocking a 1670cc motor, which is a 102 cubic inch engine. It is, of course, belt drive. It is air-cooled. And even though people think this is true, it's not true. That they did not use Yamaha parts. They did not use Yamaha R1 parts for the wheels and tires and the suspension. They just didn't. They didn't do it. Now you might be able to look on some forums, and the forks might be interchangeable with an R1. You might be able to change some stuff out. But of course, an R1 has 17-inch front and rear tires. It has a 17-inch back, 18-inch front. So the Yamaha Warrior is weighing in at 650 pounds. Pushing out 84 horsepower and a whopping 99 foot-pounds of torque. So that should make it pretty quick. It's connected with a 4-gallon fuel tank. Now look at that thing, it's huge. It's a very big fuel tank. It almost boggles my mind how it only fits 4 gallons. It must be really hollow. Now I know 102 cubic inches does not sound very impressive to today's standards because the Harley Davidson has 103 and then they got much bigger engines. The CVO is a 117 now. But back in 2002, this was a full-blown muscle bike. And you got to compare it to the other bikes that were coming out at that time. Let's look at what a muscle bike really is. A muscle bike or a muscle car is you taking a fairly regular car or bike and throwing a significantly much bigger engine inside there. Bam, you got a muscle bike. So this thing's pretty much the same size as a Yamaha 650 with a 1700cc motor inside of it. Compare that to the engines that Harley Davidson was putting in their bikes at the time. In 2002, Harley was running on the normal bike an 88 cubic inch engine. So a 1340cc bike compared to this. This thing would walk the floor with one of those bikes. Is that a saying people say? Walk the floor? It sounds like something. Now, when you're sitting on the bike, it's classic muscle bike stance where you're reaching forward a little bit, not that much, and your feet are in front of your butt. You're not like this for a Goldwing, but you're out here. Now, normally I think this would be pegs. They have some type of floorboard peg combo. It's whatever. I don't mind it. I don't not like it. I don't prefer it, but it's kind of neutral for me. Let's go take it for a test drive. All right, guys, before we do the test drive, let's do the words of wisdom. Where are we at? Proverbs 19. A foolish son is destruction to his father, and the contentions of a wife are a constant dripping. I got a good wife. I got great kids, too. All right, guys, put the gloves on. Let's do this test drive. I'm excited to test drive this thing. I just rode a newer one, like an 08 or something, a little while ago. And then the guy traded this one in for that bike. Bike! All right, I like this. I really feel like I'm sitting, so different bikes sit different ways. I feel like I'm just on top of this bike, almost like a cafe style. And the pegs are nice and high, so I can get real nice and low. I completely feel like I'm just sitting on top of the bike, and like down here, maybe being a little more normal, but I'm liking it. I definitely like it. Guys, let me tell you something. Look in the description. Now, after the video, or right now and come back to the video, but I was realizing something the other day, that you guys know more about me than I know about you. And I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do a questionnaire. I'm gonna write down some fun questions, takes about 3 or 4 minutes to fill out, and I want to learn more about all you guys. So it would mean a lot to me if you guys can go fill it out. We actually made this thing. It took us about 2 days to make it. And in the first day we launched it, which was yesterday, we had about 1,800 people fill it out. And the information is just amazing. I'm looking in here and I'm like, wow, I've got the greatest followers and subscribers. I got the greatest subscribers, people that take time out of their day to watch my channel. Now this is mainly for the Bikes and Beards channel. So if you don't watch the Bikes and Beards channel, don't do it. But if you do watch the Bikes and Beards channel, then definitely check it out. If you hate the Bikes and Beards channel, maybe don't do it. All right, let's talk about this bike, and that's in the description below. That would really mean a lot to me. The Yamaha Warrior. You guys remember the movie Warriors? Where the guy's like has like beer bottles in his hand and he's clicking them and he's like, Warriors, come out to play. I don't know, I forget how he does it. It's kind of a weird, creepy scene. I don't think I've ever seen the whole movie. This thing's got a nice rumble to it. It's got a real nice sound. Like I said before, the stock exhaust was so big and so strange. I remember seeing them like brand new on the showroom floor and I was like, man, that's a goofy looking. That's a goofy looking exhaust. But the thing packs a punch, check it. Something you'll notice, especially with bikes that have more torque than they have horsepower, is how you could be cruising at those lower speeds, and when you crack that throttle, man, you really get that punch right away. That's unlike like sport bikes that have more horsepower than they have torque, and then what happens is you start feeling it. You know, it goes and goes and goes, and you get to the higher RPMs, and it's like, whoa, and then it pulls you back really, you know, hardcore. It's a fun bike. Someone should turn this thing into like a flat track racer bike. That would be really cool. That's a pretty good idea. You know, I'm gonna say that I don't know if these are stock or aftermarket. I'm assuming that they're aftermarket and that stock came with pegs, but I'm kind of liking these. You have a little more range. You can actually kind of shimmy your foot around a little bit more, and you still feel confident, you know, knowing where your feet are at. I think this thing might have a pretty quick 0 to 60. The Gen 2 Dodge Viper had a 0 to 60 that claimed of like 4.5 seconds, 4 point something seconds, which I thought was kind of, it didn't seem very fast to today's standards, but still for most people, it's still a pretty quick car. This should beat that. I'm pretty sure that I can get 0 to 60 with this thing in somewhere around less than 4 seconds. That's my goal. Now lately I've been doing a pretty good job at hitting my goal, but there's been a few bikes that I've just been so off, so completely off. It's like I don't do this for a living. Let's test the brakes, make sure there's no one behind me, test the brakes. That's kind of what you would expect for a big heavy bike. For a 650-pound bike, it's decent. It's no like electronically assisted BMW or anything like that, but it gets it done. Rear brake feels nice. It's not too twitchy. You can actually do a little trail braking when you're coming out of a corner or something like that. I like the way this bike handles. It's got a lightness to it that's somewhat surprising, and those higher pegs kind of give you that extra boost of confidence. That was pretty good. It got a little bit of tire spin. I think I nailed that one. I bet I could do that 3 more times and barely shave off any more time. I'm not. All right, so we're cruising. We're cruising on the highway speeds. I believe this bike is a 5-speed. That was the trend back then. Everyone was doing 5 speeds, and we're doing the speed limit, and we're at 2.25 RPMs. We're like 2,200 RPMs. You know what I mean? So it's a big engine. You don't need more gears, trust me. And it's got enough torque that if we don't have to downshift. Watch this. Nope, you're not passing me today. All right, I'll let you pass. You can just easily just roll in that throttle, accelerate. You don't have to downshift. If someone were to pose the question of, is this bike big enough for a man or a larger than normal woman? All right, I had this, someone brought this up to me the other day, and it was a woman, and it was the one girl that watches the channel, and she's like, you're being sexist, everything's about, is it big enough for a man? What about a woman? And I guess I didn't really have a good response, but my response would be, I don't know, I'm not a woman. I'm not the average male is much bigger than the average woman. So what I can do is say, is this big enough for a man, or is this, oh look, 2,500, 600 miles exactly. Or is this big enough for a 6'2", 180-pound woman? I could do that. That makes sense. But, I mean, I would have to, you know, Now obviously there's bigger men than me. You know, one time me and Caleb did a video where he was on the back of the bike. We had about 400 pounds on a 750 and it ran great. Alright, so I feel good. I'm feeling good on this bike. The power, it does have a good lot of power. It is a lot of fun. You know what would be a good race? For me to strip down my CVO Road King, take off the bags, take off the tour pack, the most stripped down version of that bike as I can, and to race this. That might be a good, this might beat it. This might actually beat it. Alright guys, that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching. That really means a lot to me. If you guys are wondering what kind of gloves I'm wearing, these are M1 Moto Gloves. These are gloves that we actually designed and had made for us. This glove right here was actually the glove that I was driving in a Versahol. I stuck my hand out of the Versahol and I drug my hand for almost like a mile. It was like 2 minutes, or no, not 2 minutes. It was a long time. It was about a mile. We actually did a video about it. Go check that video out. I just drug it, and then I got too hot, and then I pulled my hand off, and I did it again, and that's all it did. That's all it did right there. And I was putting some pressure on it too. You see it kind of wore out the fingertips a little bit too. All right, guys, and those, if you click on the link below, if you click on one of the links below for the bikes, you can find those gloves. We'll see you guys later. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going.